CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. Nick Qualia, Marv, Mike Molyneux. Guys, the Patriots, they won this week. They beat the Jets, as you would expect, although they almost didn't beat the Jets, which it came to the point. Patriots Twitter, they were all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence became a real possibility. Everybody was like, Trevor Lawrence, this guy's going to look great in a Patriots uniform. You lose this game, you give up on the year. The second, and then the Patriots win, they ruin that whole fantasy, so now they're just a mediocre football team who's not going to get excellent draft position. So, the AFC East, though, the Bills 7-2, the Dolphins 5-3, the Patriots 3-5, the Jets, who cares? They haven't won a game yet. Guys, is the AFC East officially out of reach for the Patriots? Mike, let's start with you. What do you think?
Patriots aren't winning the AFC East. Let's just get that out the way and be clear about it. Patriots are not winning. Patriots are not winning the AFC East, and that's just the reality of this 2020 season. The Patriots team is not good enough to be the top team in the division. The Bills have that on lock, and honestly, the Dolphins aren't too far off. This Tua looks like he's ready to put in some work. So with the Bills being as great as they are, with Josh Allen leading the way, and Tua stepping into his own with the Dolphins, knocking Fitzmagic out the picture, the Patriots don't stand a chance. This offense just isn't top tier like we're used to seeing. And on top of that, the defense is not good either. The defense is terrible. This Patriots football team this season is not good. And the AFC East is not in the picture. You're not getting that crown this year. And if you look at the rest of the schedule, they have the Ravens coming up. I think most people know what to expect out of that. The Texans are, you may get lucky against the Texans. Who knows?
I don't know why the Texans are as bad as they are.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But the Texans are still up and down team. You don't know what to expect from them. But usually the Patriots have their number. The Cardinals are pretty solid this year. The Chargers have a young rookie over there in Justin Herbert who's throwing the hell out of the football. And then you get
find a way to
say it again.
Chargers always find a way to lose. So I'm not worried about that game. I'm throwing all my money on the Patriots.
I don't know. It's this Patriots defense. Who knows? But then you got the Rams and Dolphins and then the Bills. Like, your schedule is tough. And if I had to give a prediction out of that upcoming schedule, you're probably maybe beating the Texans. And in my opinion, you're possibly losing to everybody else that I just listed so far. So that's
a 4-win season.
That's going to put you further down. Nick, you got to understand, this team is not good. It's not a good football team this year, and it's okay. And I don't think they're going to be at the basement of the AFC or the basement of the NFL. But if we're just talking AFC East in this segment right here, it's not happening this season. And we just got to accept that and just let it ride out.
I wish they accepted it during the game and just didn't win. Get better draft positioning. That was so lame. That sucked. All right, Marv, what do you think? Is it out of reach?
The AFC East #1 spot is out of reach. You're not catching the Buffalo Bills with how this schedule is looking like. Mike pretty much broke it down with who the next opponents are. However, you won this game, and it's slim. It's very, very slim. But the playoffs are still there. Playoffs are still at reach. And you got veterans on this Patriots team who are not just going to bow down and accept tanking, Trevor Lawrence talk, or whatnot. These guys are still going to go out there and try to fight in battle no matter what. They're not going to look like some teams where it's like, oh my God, they just quit. The Patriots just quit and they're going to continue to fight. And the playoffs are still there. And this week gave them hope. I haven't seen the Patriots cheer for a early November win like this in my life. They beat the Jets, the winless Jets, and they look like they just beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Happy, hugging, celebrated. Excuse me. I even think I've seen Bill Belichick with a fist pump after Nick Folk hit the game winner. So there's still hope on this team, and they're going to fight. They may be able to get that #2 spot in the AFC East, with the Dolphins, but Mike mentioned it. Tua and the Dolphins, they look like they got a solid team right now. That Miami defense is really putting in work right now. I'm not afraid of the Texans. I'm not afraid of the Chargers, two teams that have horrible defenses. Arizona, you're probably going to lose. Kyle Murray is a monster, and he will slice up that defense with his speed. And because you don't have speed in the defensive line, you don't have speed in the linebacker position. And even when you bring Stephon Gilmore back, you still don't have speed in the secondary. So Patriots might get sliced up by the Cardinals. But, you know, the chances for the Patriots to make the playoffs are still there. Very slim, but it's still there. They're not reaching the Buffalo Bills, who looked really good against the Seattle Seahawks.
And especially, too, if they expand the playoffs. There's a lot of talk about the NFL expanding the playoffs this year. So if that's the case, it's going to help out the Patriots a lot in regards to at least making it to the postseason. So this week for me, the AFC East is out of the picture, because this week for me, you really had a chance to gain some ground. Yeah, the Bills looked really good against the Seattle Seahawks. And, like, granted, that Seattle defense not nearly as good as they used to be, really not that good at all. So putting up 44 points, great. But to put up 44 points, you have to have a near perfect game as is. And they really put up a lot of offensive firepower there. And their defense is solid. So they looked really good against the Seahawks. But that was a chance there for the Seahawks to beat the Patriots, for the Jets to win, and for you to gain a game there. And then also for the Dolphins and the Cardinals. You really had a chance to gain a game on the Cardinals. You had what was supposed to be an easy game lined up for you. The Cardinals should have, if you would assume the Cardinals are going to beat the Dolphins, they didn't do that. So you gained absolutely no ground. So that game against the Jets really did become a must-win after those two teams won the game. But, I mean, like, yeah, let's face it. You guys lined it out. This team is not good. I think the defense is very mediocre.
I said that early in the season.
What about the defense?
Yes. Defense sucks.
The defense, wildly mediocre. The offense, I mean, like we've talked about this game after game. The only bright spot of this offense is the run game. I mean, Damian Harris looks like he's going to be a very solid runner for this future. Who knows what's going to happen with Sony Michel? Do we even have an injury update on Damian Harris yet?
Chest injury, but we don't have any other update.
That was a big hit that he took last night.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
That was a big
bounce back. Just tell Tony Michel to ask Lawrence Maroney if the grocery store is hiring for an extra bagger. Because he's out of here.
Oh, Sony's. I mean, like I've said this a million times, I've never seen a running back have less breakaway speed than Sony Michel. None. That guy would get out into open space, and everybody would catch up to him in a matter of seconds. So AFC East. What did you say?
I said his best game was his last game, where he actually showed breakaway speed.
Yeah, because I think he knew. I think his job was on the line. Not a great time for him to go. Not a great time for him to go on the IR. So anyway, Patriots, no way they win the AFC East. They're not nearly the best team. They're not even the second best team right now in the AFC East. They got to figure out how to squeak their way into the playoffs, and then we'll talk. But I would be shocked if they even made the postseason. Nick Quaglia, Marv is on, Mike Molino. Guys, we're going to be back next week for another set of the CLNS Media Patriots Roundtable. Again, Nick Quaglia, Marv is on, Mike Molino. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.